Hi Santiago, thank you for having us here at Call. Your first restaurant, how did you come up with the concept for this place?
Yeah, so well, basically I was in the beach in Tulum, and after working at Noma, Mexico, and I was thinking, okay, what should I do now? You know, I lost 10 kilos, and my girlfriend at the time, and I was just like, I was just overwhelmed of the support that we had from the world to Mexican culture, and how people should used to like well, how people was appreciating as much the quality of Mexican craft. The people that were like traveling from Japan to eat at Noma, Mexico, and then go back the next day. So it was just amazing, and I was like, okay, I want to showcase that somewhere else in the world. And what I did is to make a list. I was like literally in the beach, made a list, like what I want this city to have or this country to have, to open my own restaurant. So I wanted to be a multicultural, to have like people that is open-minded, that is quite central, so people can like travel there just, and because I have lots of friends in Europe, so it's just easy to travel. And then the people like Mexican food, or there's like some sort of door open to Mexican food. And then the other one was that people like spicy food, and that I like the guests. So before that, I travel and I make events like in around 27 countries, from like Taiwan to Russia to Portugal and Italy. And then the guests of London were like my favorite guests. Like my favorite feedback was like when I was cooking here in London. So and then also tick all the boxes. So I was like, okay, so I'm gonna move to London, open a restaurant, and without knowing anyone. And I have this idea of a house. So my idea was like, okay, I wanna have a house in the middle of London that feels like Mexico, with a chimney and 3 rectangle tables of 3 meters long. That will be the kitchen, and the dining room will be around that. And that was kind of like in my mind. And then we started looking for venues until we end up with this one and the restaurant, basically. So that was like the first idea of like being in the rain and suddenly open a door and you will have a warmth of a chimney where we're cooking dinner for you. You know, so that was kind of like the first idea that I have.
And what was the most difficult thing that you had to face in making this idea a reality for you?
I think the most difficult thing has been like the everyday life. You really trust in your idea. When you have an idea, you need to really trust like 100% in your dream every day, even though it doesn't look like you're achieving anything. And that is the most difficult part. When you have no money, when you're living in like a little room in Southeast London, and you go to the market and you cannot afford the ingredients to create the dish that you want to create, and when you don't know anyone, and when you tell everyone that you want to make this, and people kind of like put their heads down, like, yeah, I came to London because I want to open a restaurant. I was like, oh, cool. So who are your investors? And I have no investors, but I will do it. And everyone was like, okay. So then it's like that kind of feeling of like every day I was realizing that I was not the only one that moved to London to open a restaurant. And then when you go home every day, and it's like after a month, after 2 months, after 1 year, after 2 years, you have to not never doubt about that your idea can be possible. It doesn't matter how much time. So then I think patience has been like a really big part of this, and also a little bit of big part of the struggle as well, you know? So just like, just to believe, and no matter what are your like instant reality, you have to really believe in the dream. And that's an exercise that we're having, and obviously the pandemic has been really difficult as well, you know.
So when someone searches your name, often Noma comes up next to it. So I guess that maybe helps you bring in customers, but also what do you think about their expectations? Maybe they expect something sort of similar or connected to Noma, and then how do you deal with that kind of expectation?
Yeah, I mean, like I think there is a fact of people will expect something that it's really good, but I try to make clear to everyone that we are not making the same thing as or something similar in terms of like the offering as Noma or Noma Mexico. But what we do believe and what I really have in mind is this kind of like idea and ethos of not compromising quality. So it's probably not a sauce that takes 3 years to make with like 3 fermentation labs, you know, but it is a good sauce and it tastes good. And I think and there is an element of craft and the kind of like understanding belief to quality that I learned from Noma and from Rene, traveling around Mexico and working together for years, for a year and a half. I wasn't in the kitchen, I wasn't cooking there. I don't know the recipes, but I understand the way that they approach culture and the way that they respect it and respect communities and believe in creating something that is bigger than a restaurant or bigger than the food, that goes beyond the plate, that it's like supporting farmers, supporting artisans, and that whatever you do, you try for it to taste good and to give a customer a really good experience. But beyond that is this element of respect, you know? Yeah, so it's like a lot of people think that quality is something overly luxurious, but and like gold and like, you know, like all these things and like, but then I think that is not necessary. That I think quality is something that is made with respect, and even if it's just a tortilla of corn, it's not something over made or overcomplicated, but it's something that you respect and you help the communities to be able to sell their corn, and to be profitable, and then you also kind of supporting the diversity of Mexican corn. You bring in a technique here that most of the people don't understand, so they can learn it in terms of the stuff, and also you can bring this kind of a real Mexican flavor to the plate in a side bread, as I think most of the customers will be like, yeah, well, tacos, you know, that's it. But that's not the point. It's more to share than to impress people, you know. That is the core. I think that's the core thing that I have in my mind always when it comes to expectations. It's like we do this to share with other people more than to impress them, and that helps. Otherwise, you end up with like panic attacks, you know.
So yeah, it's true they expect tacos, and they also expect guacamole, but your mole do not have guaca, the avocado, right?
Yeah.
So why?
Yeah, so the idea behind that dish is that I mean, like, there's some things that we bring from Mexico, there's some things that we bring from other parts of the world. We don't use 100% like 0 mile kind of ingredients, but we try to focus on fresh ingredients from the United Kingdom. And one of the most iconic things is the guacamole. Like, people expect a guacamole when they go to a Mexican restaurant. And even though we are not a traditional Mexican restaurant, but we are inspired in Mexico, I was thinking, okay, let's just do something that people will expect. Like, they will expect a guacamole. So then the idea is that instead of bringing the avocados from Mexico, we use pistachio. That for me, pistachio is like a really refined avocado. So if you have an avocado and you just like shoot it with like a dehydrator gun, then it will become a pistachio. You know, it's green, it's quite, it has some fat on it, and it's a little bit nutty. You know, like it's like this. It has all these notes that the avocado has, and then that's why we do. I just do the. We try to we use the pistachio instead of the avocado. Also in terms of like some sort of respect to people that grow the avocado in Mexico, that they have a lot of problems these days with the narcos, and that is another whole story. But I think we should support. Support what we can support and what we believe on, in case of and not the other way around. Just to have it doesn't necessarily means that you have to do it. You know, just for the aim of having it. You know? Yeah.
And what's the most Santiago dish on this menu at the moment, you think?
Yeah, I mean, like it's really difficult to say that like what is my favorite dish. I really like all the dishes. We did quite a lot of them in the test kitchen that we used to have, and we worked for like 6-7 months and just creating dishes and stuff like that. And we kind of like moved from like an interesting phase to more approachable phase, just in terms of like where we are and what do we want to achieve. We want to just give people a good time, and not necessarily like, oh, what interesting is this dish, more to like, oh, it tastes good, that's it, you know. But one of my favorites, I think, well, one that like kind of like marks me the most is the langoustine taco. That it's been a journey with that dish from the beginning, that I made the first tasting for my business partners to now. It's been a dish that it's been with me for like 3 years of the journey. That is inspired in these times it's inspired in these times in Scotland, in these times in this northwest of Mexico, where they make these lobster tacos with beans and like spicy sauce and flour tortillas. But we bring that to Scotland, and how it feels to cook in the beach langoustines. And what do you have? You have sour berries, sea buckthorn berries, and you have wheat, a meal there that of wheat. So then it's basically getting all the elements of Scotland and just put them together in a Mexican way. And because I really love Scotland, I think it's one of my favorite dishes as well. You know, yeah.
Consider making tortillas. How is the dough?
Yeah, so the dough, it's really important. It's called masa. So the masa, it's the most important thing about Mexican cuisine. I think I would say like probably like for, well, different types of Italy. Like you have like pasta or rice, or you have also, I don't know, like soybeans. And there's different grains in different countries. In Mexico, the core crop is corn, and it's the base of civilization. And 7,000 years ago was the first corn kind of, let's say, discovered in Mexico. And it's been a journey as well of thousands of years for the indigenous communities to figure out how to cook it and how to mill it. And there's a technique called nixtamalization, that what you do is to cook the corn in calcium hydroxide. Nixtamalization means corn and ash, because people used to cook corn, and the thing is that the husk of the dry corn, or the kind of like the peel of the dry corn has niacin, that is a toxin. And then if you eat that boiled, it will be bad for your tummy. It will be bad for you. So they figure out that boiling the corn with ash of shells or just ash, it will make the water alkaline, and this peel of the grain will come out and dissolve in that high alkaline solution. So then you will have no toxin, and then they mill it in a stone mortar, and then you get like a dough. So then what happened with the nixtamalization is it takes out the toxin, but also adds calcium to like the nutritional value of the corn, and also it's able to create a dough, because if you just cook corn and mill it, you get a corn puree. You don't get a dough. But if you cook corn in an alkaline solution and leave it there for like 12 hours, then the proteins, the oils, and all the starch of the grains, they bound together, like it's a chemical reaction that allows you to form a dough. So because it doesn't have any gluten, but then like that, it kind of like you get a dough that is flexible. So apart from being more healthy, it helps you create a dough, and also helps you to have the most important thing on Mexican cooking, that is the masa. So what we do is to bring the corn from Mexico. We have like 3,000 kilos in a warehouse, and every day we cook 10 kilos for an hour in an alkaline solution. Then we soak it for 20 hours, then we wash it, and then we mill it on the house every day. And then what we do is to make little balls of masa and press them for making fresh tortillas for the customers.
And then you cook them on...
And we cook them in the comal, yeah. So every single element of the process is crucial. So like the cooking time, the soaking method, the amount of calcium, how you mill it, how you grind it, and then how much water do you add at the end, how you press it, and then how you cook it. So it's a lot of things that are really important to have a good tortilla. And that's why it's almost impossible to have good tortillas outside Mexico, you know, because it's a lot of work.
Yeah. And how crazy and hard is to do all this during a global pandemic, basically?
I mean, like, it's just, I think we wanted to keep it optimistic and keep it kind of like we believe that this is our home, and as soon as you cross, like the staff actually, like as soon as we cross this door, we are doing what we love, and we are thankful for that, and so thankful that makes you really happy, and you kind of like forget about the everyday kind of like things that are happening outside the restaurant, but in the other hand, it's such a struggle in terms of like we need to have covers reduced, so we need to make more in less time without them to feel rushed. We need to have like less staff that, you know, and also we need to work with producers that are probably in local lockdowns, and then you cannot really, you need to like really be ahead on ordering and simplify things on dishes. But that's what I say to my team, like my biggest priority is for us to have a job and be happy, more than what people say about oh, maybe this is not interesting enough, or maybe this could be a better dish or something like that. I mean, like, my biggest priority is that we come here every day and we work and we do what we love, and we're able to make what we can do in these times, and to make people as happy as possible. And we want to represent Mexican culture, Mexican cuisine, and British ingredients. But I think, and that's what I was saying to the staff the other day, that I think some big part of the project right now is that we want to represent happiness. So that it's something that we work on that every day. You know, to people to be able to feel ourselves and to kind of like communicate that to the guests, you know, so they're happy as well.
Yeah, and you've been open for like 8-9 days now.
Yeah.
How was the response so far from
Londoners? I think people is really happy, and I think quite surprised. I mean, like, a lot of places unfortunately are struggling in these times, restaurants and hotels and all the industry people, and to open in the in these times. It's a little bit of a crazy thing, but we just basically wanted to do it, and no matter what or how or whatever, we just do it. I think if you want to wait until the world is perfect and beautiful and there's no problems and everything is great and there's nothing to worry about to make something, you will not be able to do anything ever, you know. So then there's always going to be something, and we are a generation. We're all like kind of like in our 30s. My business partners, me, our head chef, like everyone's like between the mid 20s to like 30s, and I believe that we are the generation we're a generation of the present, but also of the future, and there are generations after us as well that they are living in these times where you cannot dream because of these things happening that don't allow you to plan, they don't allow you to like just have a goal, you know, like, or like know what is going to happen. I think our responsibility is to keep dreaming and to do what we love, no matter what, no matter how, and just keep going, you know, like otherwise what's the point, right? So yeah.
But there are other Mexican chefs vaguely your age in Europe that are doing great, like Karim Lopez in Italy at Osteria. Do you think there's a generation of chefs your age, or a bit older, a bit younger, from Mexico that are gonna open and run restaurants,
Yes.
famous restaurants in Europe?
Yes, 100%. I know Karima really well. She's in Florence, and she's amazing. I met her when she was in Osteria Franciscana, and I know Rocio as well really well in Copenhagen, and Daniela in New York. And I know as well Paco Mendes in Barcelona. So then it's like there is Mexican chefs that they took the task of going out there and make what makes sense to them. That is just kind of just making it right and make everything from scratch and give the extra, like go the extra mile on Mexican cuisine, and I really respect them, and I think that is the best thing. The beautiful thing about this profession is that it's about community. It's not about competition or anything. It's about creating community and opening. Like basically, if you open one door and then someone else open another door, then it's suddenly a big door, and I think that is the best way to represent culture in the best way possible. You know, so then they are amazing, and yeah, I cannot wait to cook for them when they come. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Can you just show us a bit what they're doing behind you if we stand up and go there?
Yeah, of course. Let's go. Okay, so here is the kitchen, and we are just basically every morning we just do masa jobs. It's the only thing that we do in the open kitchen. We need like a lot of space, and we have, well, here is the grill, the chimney, and then here we put like all this dough, and we do different jobs. You know, so we're pressing tortillas. That is for the fresh, just for like cooking them fresh in the comal, and then we're also doing raspadas. So Chef is Chef de Partie here, and he's doing raspadas. So it's a tortilla that's a little bit smaller with an oval shape. And what you do is when they puff, you scratch them, and then you dry them and then fry them. And these ones, they go with the guacamole dish. And then there's Josh there, just setting up, sous chef here. And then Ben is over there, that's the head chef. That is basically a legend. And he's running everything, so he's probably really busy right now. I need to go and help him. And then this is the grill. We just light in the chimney, and yeah. So I think maybe like in an hour or so we're gonna start like the briefing and everything for the lunch service, and that's it.
And your brother works with you as well.
Yeah. Eduardo, my brother, he helped us out designing. Eduardo Lastra. So he helped us designing the actual layout and all the like the gadgets that these islands will have, and the chimney and the comal and everything. So we made some three-dimensional designs together to be able to kind of put together the layout of the kitchen, the open kitchen and the back of house kitchen, and the layout of the restaurant. So yeah.
And all those ceramics that are on the wall?
Yeah, so these ones are some pieces. Some of them are like 200 years old. They are pieces of ceramics that there's a collective of architects that they collect them in different houses in Mexico that normally they get abandoned in the backyards and in their gardens for like years and generations. And they go and they basically buy their pieces, and then they give them names, and then they sell them. So then we can give them another. They can give them like another kind of like life, and showcase the beauty on the aging. You know, like so even if they have like cracks or that is just basically show kind of like the beauty of time, you know. So, and I think that's something that it kind of represents what we do. That is like underrated things or undervalued things can be special to put in the right context, and also that I think time and patience can give you can bring you a little bit closer to perfection one day, you know.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the tour, okay?
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.